Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
Each week here on Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, we are checking out Suika Game, or the watermelon game, the internet sensation. And we're also checking out Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Hey, new Mario game.
Yeah, kind of an internet sensation, too.
Kind of internet sensation. It's a pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as Suika Game. I don't know. I don't know which circles you're hanging out in online.
Yeah. I mean, Mario turns into an elephant that has been headline making for months now, so...
True.
Yeah.
You can play as Daisy. Princess Daisy for the first time.
Can you? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Wait, don't tell me you haven't made it to the character select screen in Super Mario Bros. Yet.
Is that important? Do I need to know that or do that to understand the rest of the game? No. No, I was more surprised that you had not played as Daisy in a previous Mario game.
Oh, no, well, I mean, you couldn't. You could, I think you could race as her in Mario Kart and maybe do a few rounds of tennis. But if you wanted to just jump on blocks and eat some mushrooms, you're out of luck.
Do some Mario things.
Do some, Mario stuff. Well, the typical Mario stuff that Mario does.
Well, cool. That's certainly noteworthy. I did not know that this was the first time that was possible.
Yeah. I'm fairly sure. Unless there's some obscure Mario game out there that was all about Princess Daisy that I'm not aware of. But,
Super Princess Daisy 64.
Yes, somebody's fan mod of like new Super Mario Brothers where you could play as a very crudely modeled Princess Daisy. They just inserted.
Well, cool. That's I'm not fully up to date on how many firsts exactly are happening in Mario Brothers Wonder, but I that's an exciting one.
Oh, you have more firsts?
I don't know. No, maybe.
Well, I don't think he's been an elephant before. That's a new one, right?
That is a first, yeah. Yep. I don't ever think I've seen a Mario game where a pipe inches along the bottom of the level. Like an inchworm.
It's not a normal thing.
Or I don't think I've ever been serenaded by a piranha plant before.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happens in this game. You mention all of it.
It's a very trippy game.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. We'll break it down.
Yeah, we'll have a list of all the new things. Every single new thing in this game. It's never happened in a Mario game before.
Yeah. For those who say all the Mario games are exactly the same.
Who's saying that?
I say that.
Come on.
I mean, the 2D ones feel very samey.
No, they're not. Why would you even, I can't believe we're going this direction.
My spicy take.
Even Mario 1 to 2, not at all alike.
Yeah. All right, well, if you want to go back, you're going to invoke the Holy Trinity.
Sorry. We're only talking about Mario games released between 2005 and 2006 to they're the same game.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, well, as soon as you put qualifications on it, I think the argument gets flimsier.
When you said all, I assumed you meant all.
Yes.
Yes. No, we'll get to it. I have thoughts on this.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get into it.
We should, though, here at the top of the game, before we get much further into our usual bullshit, talk about Extra Life 2023, which is not bullshit at all.
No, that's the opposite.
No, it is the opposite. It is one of the few wholesome things that we partake in. That's not true either, really. No, it's a very awesome thing that we do every year, and we're proud to do, and love to. I don't know how to dig myself out of this hole anymore. PJ, can you help?
Oh man, what have you covered up to this point? I don't want to repeat myself or repeat yourself. I don't know what's going on. Is it too late to start the episode over?
Could if you like.
No, it's fine. This Saturday, November the 4th, we will be streaming video games all day in support of Children's Miracle Network hospitals. It's going to be our 10th year doing this. That's crazy.
Damn.
Always a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun stuff on the schedule. Usually we get people from the community. That's you listening to this, showing up on the chat, playing games with us. So it's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. And let me tell you, I have had a very busy month, and I am looking forward to just kind of zoning out on Saturday and playing some video games. So it's going to be good. I hope you will be able to join us, show Team VGH some support, whether that is through a donation towards our fundraising goal, or just by hanging out on the stream, or chatting with us, or doing whatever on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually. I think I spend a lot of my normal waking life trying to find little moments of time where I can squeeze in some gaming.
Right.
Because obviously it's a hobby that I enjoy, and I don't generally think sort of my life as an adult lends itself well to just having uninterrupted hours of time to be able to do that thing. So it is a bit of a battle sometimes to like indulge my hobby. And this is one of the few times a year where like I clear the schedule for a day and just indulge in video games. So there's something very satisfying about sort of building the schedule in advance and knowing I'm going to play 10 video games this Saturday or whatever
Yes,
the magic number is, and do little else besides drink coffee and eat a burrito. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. The rest of the year, it just feels like I'm shirking some kind of responsibility whenever I boot up the PlayStation or whatever. But this weekend, it's all for a good cause. It's all that I have on my calendar, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, I use the opportunity to get into a bunch of new stuff and a bunch of weird little like curiosities. So it's always interesting in like on some dimension.
Cool. What are some of the highlights of your schedule this weekend? Did you have a couple bullet points?
Well, I'm excited since this is the last week before the actual event. I've filled in all those remaining gaps in the schedule with the weirdest stuff. So I don't know if we mentioned previously, I don't know if we even decided this last week, but we're going to be playing some Golf Gang multiplayer, which is a competitive mini golf racing game, I guess. I think that's how they describe it.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be in the afternoon. I'm going to be playing Coro Harley, which is a game about rolling a hedgehog around. And that's about all I know of it, except when you start the game, you're, I believe you're given the option to either play as a cute hedgehog or a sexy hedgehog.
Oh.
So that will be very interesting. And then by popular demand, I'm bringing back peripheral game of 2023, Give Me Toilet Paper. I'm going to be rolling that toilet paper roll around, trying to get through the rest of that game. But that should also be a lot of fun.
Nice.
How about yourself? Cool. What weird stuff have you got on the schedule for the Saturday?
I don't know if I went quite so esoteric. I'm mostly using it as an opportunity to kind of revisit some games I've not had a lot of time to indulge lately. So I want to go back to Splatoon 3 and see how that's sort of evolved over the last year or so. Man, has it been that long since I've played it? No, it hasn't been quite that long. But undoubtedly, there have been things that have been added or modified to the game. I'm curious to see what's up in the world of Splatoon these days. If anybody wants to play Splatoon 3 with me, get in touch. We can roll together and lay waste to an army of 12-year-olds on the internet.
Yeah.
What else? Visit my Animal Crossing island, do the Slay the Spire challenge. I have a fun new cozy game that I've been itching to play lately called Miniko's Night Market that I want to check out. My first time playing that. And then I went inspired by you kind of doing the spooky block later in the day. You and I are different time zones, so late in the day for me is a little different than late in the day for you. But I want to end my day by playing Inscription, which I've not really visited since it came to the Switch late last year. So I kind of want to dive back into that and see what horrors I can unleash.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And some other stuff. We'll fill the day with some other little touch points too. Probably back to Mario. Probably play some more Watermelon Game because I'm low key pretty obsessed with it right now. And we'll see what else the day brings.
Excellent.
Yeah. I was trying to think of is there a theme? Because I know you like theme blocks and stuff like that. I'm like, can I fill a day full of enough cozy games to just make that my theme for the day?
Yeah.
Do I want to farm all day for the entertainment of the internet? Can I do puzzle games all day? I really had a puzzle game thing happening at some point in my plan. And
do you have a full day of farming games to play?
I don't quite think I had enough farming games, but I certainly had enough like, oh, you're new in town and you're the village doctor and you have to
Oh,
like,
little life simulators. Okay.
yeah, life sims and things like that. So just sort of starting with Animal Crossing and spiraling outward from there.
I was thinking,
And
like, how many farming games is he talking about? Is it like 12 farming games? Is it one farming game? And it just, like, imagine it takes a long time to maintain a quality farm, so it could
Sure.
take you the entire day.
you go do some farming in real time.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
But no, it ended up being kind of a combination of those things. So I've got some puzzle games, I've got some cozy games with a little spooky game, and some other fun stuff kind of making its way in there. Splatoon's kind of a cozy game ish.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, wholesome. It's a wholesome game.
Right, yeah. Is there like a divide between those two camps now? You got the wholesome gamers facing off against the cozy gamers. They're just like trying to claim Splatoon 3.
I'm not sure. A wholesome game is a trademark at this point. So I think if you maybe miscategorize one of those, the cute and fuzzy people that run wholesomegames.com will come for you.
Did the Twitter account trademark that? I don't know how I feel about that.
Trademark. But I think there's definitely like a brand association there, right?
Okay, yeah, no, that's true.
And there are games that are sort of like wholesome games approved or appeared on the Wholesome Direct.
Right.
So there's definitely some marketing happening there, which is fine. I'm happy to be marketed to. But yeah, I don't know. There's a YouTuber that I watched who did a top 10 non-farming cozy games you should be playing. And her hot take was that a lot of like cozy games, wholesome games, eventually devolve into you running a farm, and she realizes that that's not for everyone. So she had a good list of recommendations.
Well, that could be a thing for your stream next year.
Yeah,
or on Sunday. Who knows?
It's true. Do I want to pick this up again on Sunday morning and just go for it again?
Just keep it going until those donations stop rolling in.
Right. We do set the clocks back this weekend, so we get an extra hour in there of gameplay.
Yeah. Which is terrible, because it means we have to stay up an extra hour. Or I had to stay up an extra hour. You'd probably be done at that point. I feel like they need to coordinate this better, because I'm always, like, it's the end of the quarter at work, because I'm always very busy the week before. And then we have daylight savings time. Could they just, like, bump it a week? I think that would work out much better for everybody. I'll get on the phone with them right after we wrap up recording.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like where it lands, but sure, I'm flexible. But yeah, so we've detoured a little bit, but we are going to do some hardcore Extra Life gameplay this weekend. Definitely hit us up on the socials, join our Discord, go to VGHangover.com for more info on how you can watch a stream, support us, support the charity, or play along. We would love to have you hang out with us.
Yeah, we'll be there all day. So anytime you're free on Saturday, it's going to be something going on.
True. Starting at 8 a.m. Eastern time, my neck of the woods, and then rolling into the wee small hours on the West Coast in DJ's neck of the woods.
Yeah. Playing right up until the time change. Maybe a little past the time change. We'll see how it goes.
Well, you play until the Spelunky challenge resets, right? Isn't that usually your marker?
Yeah, well, I mean, it resets sometime in the middle of the stream, but the reason I end with it is there's a fresh daily challenge waiting by the time I'm done playing everything else.
Nice.
I've always considered, like, man, what if I just, like, extended it an hour every time I got a donation over a certain amount? Might be interesting. Might be hazardous for my health, but yeah, willing to make some sacrifices for a good cause.
Yeah, we have a very active member of our Discord community, Cube00, who loves to entice us with challenges every year of playing just the worst, most miserable gaming experiences that he can possibly dream up in exchange for very generous donations. So I don't know how willing or enthusiastic I am about playing crappy games at Cube's beck and call, but for the right donation, maybe we would entertain it.
I never formally do that. That was something that Paul would do.
Yes.
But I, sure, for the right price, just pick your game. Pick the worst thing on Steam that won't get me banned from Twitch. Right. And I'll play it.
Maybe not that game where the waifu lady does my taxes and I have to give her my social security number.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's probably not worth it for whatever donation you're thinking of. But other than that, we're game.
Yeah. Yeah. Get in touch.
We have a price.
Anyway, that's this Saturday.
Yeah.
VGHangover.com/extralife. Make sure to stop by. It'll be fun.
It better be.
Better be. It'll be fine. What are you worried about?
No, I'm not worried at all. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It is the thing that's keeping me going this week.
Oh, is it? Well, I mean, that's good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. We're recording this on Monday, and I'm already over this week. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of that's about where I am. I was on a work call this morning, and people were like, how are you doing? I was like, oh, it's a bad week. It's just like, it's 10:30. What are you talking about? 10:30 on a Monday. What's going on?
I was on a conference call today, and my one of my peers connected, and I said, "How are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, it's Monday."
Yeah.
And we both laughed knowingly. And then a third peer joined the call, and I said, "Hey, welcome to the call. How are you doing?" And she goes, "It's Monday." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is the battle cry." This is like we go, "Oh, it's Monday," and we all know what each other mean. Yep.
Oh man, Mondays. Am I right?
Can't trust that day.
I got a couple of high-profile birthdays on the calendar this week.
Oh,
You caught any word of this?
I don't think
There
so.
was,
No. Where are you going with this?
Call of Duty turned 20 this week.
Oh,
And more surprisingly, at least to me, is Ridge Racer turned 30. It was distressing.
I've played some Call of Duty games. I don't think I've ever played a Ridge Racer game.
You never played Ridge Racer? Oh man,
No.
I thought this was very weird because I've been playing like completely unintentionally. I mean, not unintentionally, but coincidentally. I've been playing a ton of Ridge Racer lately, as it turns out. I guess I could just sense the birthday approaching. So
Okay, not in celebration of the birthday, just accidentally found yourself going, "Oh, what a coincidence."
It's a total coincidence. I've been spending a lot of time on my little Odin handheld, which just has a lot of Ridge Racer games on it, as it turns out.
Wow.
And I've never spent a lot of time with them. So I was just like, I feel like, it's a very kind of venerable series. It's not quite as complicated, I feel like, as something like Gran Turismo or Forza. And I just kind of appreciate the simplicity of, a more arcadey racing game. So I just been spending some time with Ridge Racer, and it turns out that who knew I was perhaps being cosmically influenced by the 30th birthday coming up. I don't know how that works.
Is that series still alive? I remember the meme, of course, of the Ridge Racer from Geez, what was that? The PS3 reveal?
The PS3, yeah. Kaz
100
Hirai.
years ago. Yeah.
I think it's been a while since they made one, and it's probably been even longer since they made a good one. But I actually spent, well, now that I think about it, I spent a lot of time playing Ridge Racer 7 on the PS3, as it turns out, because, there weren't any PS3 games for a long time. And I had a pretty good time with it. But I've been going back to, the original, Ridge Racer 1 on the PlayStation 1, and a little bit of R4, which I think is typically the highest regarded in the whole series. But I just thought that was weird that, it's Ridge Racer's birthday. Wonder if we're going to get a new one anytime soon.
I don't know. I'm not sure if people are clamoring for that. The state of racing games is a little weird to me right now. There used to be a lot of them. I really feel like they're pretty consistently. You could almost always bank on a new approach or rebranding of some kind of racing game coming out. And now it really feels kind of very divided into kind of Mario Kart and Forza and and not a whole lot of other stuff. I feel like.
I feel like they keep making those Need for Speed games. They've been churning those out fairly regularly.
But, I suppose it's true.
Not so much Ridge Racer. Just too bad.
Yeah. There's a Disney thing. What's the Speedstorm?
Yeah. It's more of the Mario Kart vein, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's sort of Disney's kind of approach to video games now with, free to play, but tons of content you can pay for if you want to have. I don't know, Minnie Mouse drive a cart or something like that. You've got to pay extra for that. That sounds like fun, but I don't want to spend $1 million on DLC for a Disney.
I mean, I don't think you have to spend $1 million.
No, you're not required to.
You buy the Disney princess you like the best, and then you're probably good.
When it first came out, I was like, is Jack Skellington in this game? Like, if there's creepy nightmare characters, I probably would have to play it at some point or another, and I was absolved, did not have to do it. So,
he's not in there yet?
No, unless they added him just recently for Halloween, which would make sense.
That would be a good time.
Yeah, I booted up my Switch just recently, and the little Fortnite icon on the top of this Switch menu updated to Jack Skellington, and I'm like, I can play as Jack in Fortnite now. That is an interesting approach. So, I guess there's some other racers out there. I just, I don't know. There used to be more. It used to be kind of easier to kind of graze that experience, I think. There's very sort of disparate camps now.
Yeah. I feel like it's gotten slightly more hardcore. I like Ridge Racer because it's very arcadey. Although it's also arcadey in a very specific way because you have to like drift your cars around every corner, which I am not especially good at. But it's definitely more... I can get a better handle on it than something like Gran Turismo, where it's just like, oh man, I am just on the wall for the entire race. It's probably not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I think I've had a similar experience with Gran Turismo.
Yeah. One of these days I'll get my little, like, the full car cockpit setup. So you got the racing wheel and the pedals. Because I imagine, like, if you were actually driving, or if it felt like you're driving a car, maybe those games would be easier to play. Maybe they would just make more sense to me somehow. I don't know. It's such a disconnect trying to use a controller to like drive a car. To drive a realistic handling car, I should say.
Halloween party over the weekend, and the hosts have video game arcade cabinets in their basement. And they had like the Golden Tee and there was something with a light gun. I forget what game it was.
Oh, so these are like serious cabinets then.
Oh yeah, these were pretty hardcore. And I thought
these were going to be like, the little like 1/2 scale, like little Mortal Kombat things.
Oh sure. Yeah. No, this was not that. No. This was a nice setup. There's a pool table and electronic dartboard and stuff like that. So,
wow.
They also had linked cruisin' cabinets.
What?
And so Sarah and I were playing, I think, Cruisin' USA, connected for quite a while. It was fun. It was a good time. Again, in sort of in defense of kind of arcadey racers, it was like, very finicky controls and trying to hear sort of the soundtrack of the thing and understand the directions over the noise of the party was a little difficult too, but it was fun. We had a good time.
Man, having linked cruising cabinet just in your basement, that's crazy. Which light gun game do they have?
I don't remember what it was. I would have to go back. I didn't play the light gun one, and I didn't play Golden Tee. That doesn't appeal to me at all, but Cruising I was all about. Sarah's like, race me. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, man. That's hysterical.
The irony was, when we got there, it wasn't even plugged in. Nothing was working. And I'm like, you cannot have a party and not turn this stuff on, please.
Right. So, I mean, imagine it's not plugged in all the time or just their electric bill would be crazy. But
the hosts found a circuit breaker. Not a circuit breaker. What's the thing called? A power strip. And hit the button on that and everything lit up and the party moved into the basement from that point forward. And yeah, it was good. Pennsylvania's going through a pretty hardcore sports season, and there were a lot of people who were very distracted by a sports game on a TV. Mm-hmm. So I was glad for the distraction and playing some Cruisin' USA with my best girl.
Oh, sounds like a good party. You get your several options of
it wasn't
things
bad.
to do.
I mean, if you have to go to a party.
Yeah, might as well be the one with the full arcade in the basement.
Yes, yeah, that's the way to do it.
Oh, man, I'm a little jealous. I don't have any arcade cabinets in my apartment.
But anyway, sorry, I was just curious if you were, doing any birthday festivities. I'm not. No, what was your other one? Call of Duty. Yeah. I've not played one of those in a very long time. Call of Duty Infinite was the last one. I don't know how many years ago that was.
It's also weird because I just randomly started playing Call of Duty 4 again like a week ago.
No.
I don't know why. I had no idea. Like, wasn't expecting to be this coordinated, but that was like the era of Call of Duty where I was like most into it, I think. I haven't really touched it a lot since then.
No, you were always sort of surprisingly, occasionally into Call of Duty and Battlefield games.
Yeah, well, in Battlefield, that was like my thing. Then I remember playing a lot of Modern Warfare 2, like the original, not the new Modern Warfare 2. And then I just kind of dropped off it. I guess I had my fill or something. Yeah. Or Battlefield 3 came out, maybe that was it.
That was probably the last time that I was really all about a Modern Warfare game. Or I guess a Call of Duty game. It's not Modern Warfare, it's Call of Duty as the series. Yeah. And then kind of going forward, I really wasn't interested in kind of hanging out online and losing constantly, but I really liked the campaigns in those games. I would, buy them or rent them from the Red Box and just play the campaign and then bring it back after a couple of days. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's anybody else out there who's a big advocate for playing just the campaign in Call of Duty, but I was.
Oh, there are tons of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I was doing with this. Like a week ago when I was playing it, I was like, I just want to play the campaign again. I think my, the years when I would stay up late at night playing Call of Duty or Battlefield matches late into the night are behind me. So. Not super interested in that, but I was like, the campaign was pretty good. I'd play that again.
Were you playing that on your Odin?
Oh no, that would be amazing.
Okay.
I wonder if that would work.
That is a very powerful device that I don't think I realized it was quite that advanced.
I wonder. I don't know. It might be just beyond like maybe in a couple years the next Odin or whatever will be able to handle it. But no, just playing it on the PS5.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
and 'tis the season, right? It's about this time of year every year that a Call of Duty game comes out. So
yeah,
it would make sense.
I've really fallen off the wagon. I couldn't even tell you what the new one is this year, but I rest assured there will be a new one.
It's one of those things like, is it good this year? That should be. That's our new podcast. Is it good this year? And we'll just do like year? Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and Madden and FIFA and just whatever games, Just Dance games that have kind of yearly iterations. And DJ and I will weigh in on whether or not this year's is good or not good.
Is there a new Assassin's Creed this year? There is, isn't there?
There is. Yes. I don't remember the subtitle of it, but there is a new Assassin's Creed.
Mirage, right?
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, I can just say anything I want, and you'd be like, "Yeah, that's an Assassin's Creed game, probably," or it was at some point.
Assassin's Creed Mirage. You are correct.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Still
good job. You get a free copy of Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Excellent. That's all I ever wanted. I'm holding out for Assassin's Creed Modern Warfare. That should be pretty good.
I want to be a sniper. Oh wait, it just becomes a Hitman game at that point.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine the crossover? If Assassin's Creed guy had to assassinate the Hitman, that'd be wild.
It's like spy versus spy.
He gets a picture of his target, and it's like himself. It's like, I don't know what to do about this one.
You and I played that game before. That was that Splinter Cell game where you had to play against each other, and the final mission was you have to kill your partner.
Yeah. Oh man, spoilers.
Oh, surprise! That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. That was good though.
That was a good game. Yeah, that was really cool.
Man, speaking of stuff that doesn't come out every year,
Splinter Cell.
Yeah. So I don't know where I'm going with that. I just wanted to give a shout out to Call of Duty and Ridge Racer. Maybe Ridge Racer will come back. How many times have I said that in the last 15 minutes? Maybe it'll.
You just started a letter writing campaign.
Yeah. I'll draft something to Kaz Hirai right away.
We should talk about. You want to talk about watermelons, or you want to talk about Mario?
I want to hear about the watermelon. I played Mario. I didn't play the watermelon thing.
So the watermelon game. I don't have TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. But apparently, this has been quite a thing on TikTok lately. And
just people playing the game? It's not like a game you play on TikTok, is it?
Can you play games on TikTok?
I don't know how TikTok works.
DJ, you're younger than me. Explain TikTok to me, please.
I tapped out at, I was like, I'm not going to get a Snapchat. I'm not going to do the TikTok thing. It's just beyond me.
There's no like videos of you dancing to Taylor Swift out there anywhere that we should be aware of.
No, it's like the closest I get to it is sometimes I'll just like accidentally click on a YouTube short and just like start flicking through those for 5 or 10 minutes, and I can feel my brain like smoothing out. It's not a good feeling.
I think I've like downvoted the algorithm on the YouTube shorts really well, because everything it serves me now is clips of comedians I like doing some of their best bits, interspersed with videos of dogs and puppies playing.
Oh, okay, well, it sounds like it's got you down then.
It's got me kind of figured out, yeah. And it's good. It's a nice little like positive, like a laugh or a little like cute moment in the middle of the day when I need it most.
Hey.
But yeah, otherwise, don't indulge any of that stuff. Just, you're better off. So I guess this is one of those games like Among Us that came out. Not a lot of people played. It kind of went away, and then somehow collectively the internet decided it was cool and discovered it again.
So it has achieved viral fame.
Correct.
Thanks to TikTok. Got it.
Right. Where I think the developers said that they were selling, a handful of copies a week for a little while, and now they're selling millions every week.
Wow, that's cool.
Which is cool. Yeah, absolutely. So it was you could play a browser version of this. The English version is called Watermelon Game. The Japanese version is called the Suika Game, Suika. And it is like it's a sort of a dropping puzzle game. Essentially, you have a bin that you drop a randomly selected piece of fruit into. And as that piece of fruit touches an identical piece of fruit in the bin, it merges and turns into a slightly bigger piece of fruit.
Oh.
So 2 cherries become a strawberry, 2 strawberries become a little clutch of grapes.
Well, they become a different fruit at the same time.
They become a different fruit, correct. And that piece of fruit, that new piece of fruit, takes up a bigger space or a different shaped space in the bin, and maybe has a little more mass or has a little more weight to it, and kind of pushes other pieces of fruit out of the way. As you're dropping, they're kind of rolling around in the bin and bouncing off of each other and stuff like that. So it's not like the technical precision of like a Tetris drop game. And it certainly doesn't require kind of the speed or like, I don't know, mental acuity that Tetris in its further levels requires. But there is a weird sort of compelling kind of rhythm to it. And that you're like trying to sort of attack previous scores that you've gotten. It has a leaderboard thing, so of course it tells you what everybody in the world is doing and what your friends are doing as far as scores go. And it's just this one mode. It's just you listening to the one track in the game loop over and over. Dropping fruit into a bin and watching them sort of merge into each other and trying to sort of like trick yourself into thinking that there's some strategy to it. Like, oh, well, I'll just put the small fruits on the left and right side of the bin and big fruits in the middle. and eventually it just turns into fruit salad. The fun thing is they continue to roll, or they kind of continue to move other things out of the way. So you get these little like trigger effects essentially that happen where a couple will merge into each other and then bump into the one next to it and merge into that. And creates
it's
this like
the same fruit.
Right. Exactly. Kind of chain effect that happens kind of bottom of the bin, and that creates some pressure, right? As smaller fruit become bigger ones, they push other fruit out of the way. And if you're getting a little further into the game and you haven't had a merge in a while, like a game of Tetris, things are starting to rise to the top of the fruit bucket. That pressure happening down below where things start to merge and get wild can push your fruit over the edge, and then it's game.
I see.
Yeah, it's I don't know, kind of oddly compelling, sort of zen-like, like fairly low stress, but cute. Like all the fruit are sort of bright Technicolor colors and have funny little faces on them and stuff like that. And as they kind of nudge and bump and boink into other ones in the pot, they make other little faces of like squinching up their little noses and eyes and stuff like that as they kind of muscle for space. The version of it on the Switch is fun because it has a Halloween mode. which changes the one track into a slightly spookier version of the one music track.
It doesn't even change the fruit, just the music?
Well, it changes the faces on the fruit to be kind of spooky and evil looking, and they all look kind of angry. And the watermelon, which is the biggest piece of fruit that you can get, by merging, if you go through all of the merges from a cherry all the way up to a watermelon, it's like 14 steps, 14 different types of fruit. If you can successfully merge, the biggest piece you can get is a watermelon. In the Halloween version, it becomes a jack-o'-lantern. It becomes a pumpkin.
Oh, excellent.
So it's no longer the watermelon game; it's the pumpkin game at that point. But other than that, it plays it plays entirely identical to the wholesome rest of the year version of the Suika Game.
So is it the ultimate goal to merge fruits into a watermelon?
It would appear to be. You can continue playing from that point forward until you exceed the fruit bucket and overflow. But in general, I think sort of a win state seems to be kind of agreed upon by everybody on the internet, is that getting the watermelon is like the peak achievement.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'll see a lot of people in my like scoreboard in the game are hanging out around the 3,000 point limit, and I can't seem to get beyond 2,000.
Well, how are you scored? Is it like the number of merges you are able to do?
Yes, merges have a score association with them, and like consecutive merges in a row seem to get more points. So if you can set up one of those chain effects where you hit like 2 or 3 in a row and it doesn't cause you to exceed the capacity of the bucket, you get a higher score for that. So it's kind of in your best interest to try to plan for chain effects. But I'm not really good at getting those, particularly as the bucket gets more and more full. I find that the little ones just take up all of the fun, like rolling spaces that the fruit would otherwise need. Like there's always a couple of cherries and a strawberry in the way of my apple rolling over and merging with the other apple on the other side of it. And I wish it had a tilt mode. Like I could use the little motion detector in the Switch to like nudge the bucket a little bit, just to like get the fruit to kind of like settle a little differently, and fill in some of those spaces. So yeah, but it's fine. It's one of those things that's
really
sort of
been good at doing those like planning out combos. Whether it's like Tetris, you don't really do that, but like in Dr. Mario and Puzzle Fighter, you're always very encouraged to set up chains. Yeah, and I was just like, I could maybe do like one or like I guess two, sort of like one step ahead. And I'd be very satisfied if I could do that. But I'd see these people like setting up the entire board. So they drop a piece and then the entire thing is cleared. It's like, how, like, do you just see into the future? Do you exist in a different like plane of reality where you can just visualize these, like all these steps ahead? It's just kind of beyond my capability.
You have the little orbs from Minority Report that tells you what's coming.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, don't let those guys play Dr. Mario.
Right. The version of Suika Game on the Switch tells you what the next piece is. So you have the piece that you can drop, and you have the next one in sort of the randomly selected kind of procession. So I've used that a little bit to kind of inform placements of 2 in a rows. But yeah, I don't know how people are plotting their strategies much farther than that, unfortunately.
Maybe it's just something that comes naturally if you've played it enough.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I Googled like watermelon game strategies, and there was not really anything super helpful out there, which leads me to believe that it's probably just dumb luck in a lot of ways. Sort of the random nature of it, the fact that everything is round and not perfectly blocky means you can't really like build in the same way that you would approach like a Tetris game. Mm-hmm. And yeah, everything has kind of physics and weight to it. So as you're dropping stuff in the bucket, it's sort of rolling off of its neighbor and bumping into others and things like that. And so yeah, a lot of it just sort of feels like dumb luck, which is again kind of this sly trick that it plays where you feel like, oh, I get it now. I know what I have to do. And you try that again in the next round and like, oh no, it wasn't that. But there's got to be some secret to this, right? And you play again and you play again. And yeah, I have spent the last 5 days just playing Watermelon Game between levels of Mario Wonder, and sometimes playing quite a bit more Watermelon Game than Mario Wonder.
Oh. Who's the developer? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I don't.
I was just looking it up to see if it's on my phone, and of course there are like 100 different like merging number games, and also just a lot of them happen to involve watermelons.
Yeah, there's a ton of clones. There's Android clones and stuff like that too. I've seen in the market. Yeah,
depressing reality of mobile games. But
the original version of this, like the legitimate real version of this, is only, as far as I know, on PC and on Switch now. And there is a browser-based version of it that the developer has put up as well that you can play on your computer that doesn't require a download or a purchase even. It is, I think, loosely based on a game called 2048. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
So that is sort of the inspiration from this, and they've sort of translated the conceit of that puzzle game into something just involving fruits. I've never played 2048, so I don't quite get how it connects, but for our listeners, if you're familiar with that game, maybe you have some idea of what's going on here in Suika Game.
Okay, I just want to get something straight. 2048 is a very similar situation, but it was inspired by that game Threes, right? Where you're merging numbers. I forget how that worked because I only played 2048. Right. But it was a similar chain of like somebody creates this one game and then in a close imitation takes off, and then that in turn is imitated.
It becomes the gold standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of
a similar principle. I think I also played a game like this. It was like, I don't remember how I came across it. It was like Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, was like getting into mobile game development, and he made this like just free to download version of, essentially it sounds like the Watermelon Game, where you're just trying to merge these different colored pucks with numbers on them. And it was like the most sort of like my first Unity project mobile game you can imagine. And I was like, good for you, Yuji Naka, making your own games. then he went to prison. So I didn't end up playing a lot of that game. But as you were describing this, I was like, oh yeah, it sounds like the Yuji Naka game that I played for like half an hour.
So this is, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Obviously, I would recommend it. I think if you're listening to me explain this, you probably know if you're into this or not. It's only $3. It's $3 on the Switch. You give it a shot. You may be pleasantly surprised.
I'm intrigued. Yeah. Feel strangely compelled to merge some watermelons, or not merge watermelons, but I would like to have a watermelon.
Yes. Yeah. The watermelons don't merge. That's
they don't merge at all.
Oh, I don't know. Do they merge? Like they don't merge and become another fruit because there's not another fruit in the procession.
Oh, I guess it would be difficult to end up with two of them because it feels like you'd have to have a lot of fruit hanging out in that crate or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe for the sequel, you'll be able to merge watermelons together.
I have seen a watermelon once.
Yeah.
And then it was a jack-o'-lantern actually.
Oh no!
And then almost immediately after the merge failed out. But yeah, they're hard to get. They do feel somewhat unattainable. So I certainly did not have two of them to figure out what happens next.
Oh man, just imagine though, if you had two watermelons, what would you do?
And the funny thing is, you have on the Switch screen, there's like the little wheel on the right-hand side that sort of shows you the procession of fruit. So you can sort of see kind of what a cherry becomes a strawberry, becomes a grape, etc. So you can sort of see how they get bigger as they go, and sort of visualize what the next merge will take you to. And the one directly before the watermelon is the pineapple. I believe it's a pineapple. And I've had tons of pineapples, so many pineapples, and just can't get them to get anywhere near each other to merge. So the one time I pulled it off felt like a minor miracle. That remains my highest score. That is my 1,962 points.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, you got to get that watermelon.
So yeah, I need that. I need to find out what happens next. I want to know what is happening with these people that are getting 3,000 pointers? Because I just am nowhere near that.
What's the secret watermelon technique? What are you missing?
Well, I'm gonna spend the whole week kind of diving into this, and I'll report back.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you're playing this during Extra Life, right?
Yes, yeah. I got a chunk of time isolated to stream some of this through the day.
Okay, terrific. I'll have to watch and see how you're doing.
Yeah, critique my my strategies.
Oh no, I'll be looking for tips. I have no idea what's going on.
Teach me, oh watermelon master.
Oh man. Well, I had no idea what to expect from this, but it sounds strangely compelling. So
yeah, so I get why the internet has lost its mind over this. Like, Among Us was fun, and I kind of got it, I guess, but I also didn't totally understand why it was the phenomena that it was. Like, this is like elegant in its simplicity. It's kind of wholesome and goofy. But there is some sort of like weird, like psychological challenge to it that I think I really sort of appreciate that a lot of people are into right now. So yeah, it's fun. I kind of get it. And you know, the expense of $3 and the several hours of my life that I've put into it, I guess makes it sort of feel worth it. And for once in a rare moon, I'm aligned with what the internet is into right now.
Oh yeah. Well, can't wait to hear what's going on TikTok next week. You can fill me in.
I'll keep you posted.
Terrific.
Onward to Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Yeah. Man, a new Mario game came out. I'm still kind of like in shock. Especially like it's a new 2D Mario, which I feel like is, you know, I bet if you actually like put them all in the timeline, it would probably alternate between the 2D and 3D ones, but they just feel very rare at this point in time.
They certainly feel rarer than the 3D ones. Yeah, I think I would acknowledge that. I'm not always, and maybe this is some of my, this is definitely some of my kind of earlier, I don't know, negativity, is that I don't love the 2D Mario games. Like, I get it. Like, you know, you're doing some creative stuff, and there is a lot of creative, interesting things happening in Wonder. But you're still kind of just running right to left and hopping on blocks, right? I mean, it's like, there's something about the 3D ones, about Galaxy, about Odyssey specifically, that just feels super open and super full of puzzles and super full of interesting challenges. And I don't necessarily feel like that is happening with Wonder. Like I forget how many numbers of levels into this thing at this point, and I'm like, all right, I get it. I understand. Like, I get what you're doing. And like, none of it feels super radical or super mind blowing to me. So the reviews that I'm reading for this game, where people are like, oh my God, like, I can't believe Nintendo did it again. 2 killer games in a single year. I don't know if I'm on that train.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm like blown away by this, but so far I've been enjoying it much more than New Super Mario Brothers U, whichever one that I played a couple months ago. The Wii U one.
I agree with you on it. Yeah,
the other 2D Mario, is it the most recent 2D Mario? I think so. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was like a collection of games under that New Super Mario Brothers banner, right?
Yeah, but that was the most recent one, I think. And there hasn't really been another one since then. So yeah, it's been a little bit since the Wii U. But I think it's funny. I mean, it's definitely true that the 2D games feel a little more constrained in terms of like what you can do. Like in the 3D ones, you're just dealing with a whole 3D open world, and there's so much crazy stuff that can happen. But so far in this one, I feel like many of the levels have been very interesting. Like they tend to have their own sort of unique gimmick, whether it's in the enemies or sort of like environmental objects. Like there have been a lot of fun, like weird platforms in the levels that I played. And then maybe the big element in this, and I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff happening in this game, but there's like the Wonder Flower in each stage. And basically, whenever you pick it up, just the level transforms in some completely unpredictable way. And I was sort of like, you could get an idea of whatever was going on in the trailer. Like when you pick up a Wonder Flower, it's like, oh, it like gets kind of psychedelic and crazy, and like pipes start crawling around and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Psychedelics is a good word for it because it very much feels like an acid trip of a Mario experience. It is. I've never done acid. Let me just say that here on the show.
Okay,
but
just
I have
making
to
that
imagine. Yeah, I have to imagine it's a lot like what happens when you pick up the Wonder Flower.
just pipes start moving around.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was probably expecting you to be more like, oh, you got the Wonder Flower, so now it's like time for Wonder Mode and things behave slightly differently. But up to this point, I feel like it's had a completely unique effect every stage that I've picked one up in. I feel like I haven't even picked them up on every single stage. I don't know if that's because I just missed them or they're not in every single stage, but it's been very surprising after I sort of caught on to this. It's like, oh, it's going to be different every time. It feels like they have like just sort of like created a unique sort of secondary game to go along with every stage in Super Mario Wonder.
Right. And it is not some like random thing, but it is some extension of kind of the geography of the level that you're in, just kind of twisted and amped up in some unique way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Wonder Flower is my favorite part of every level. And you're supposed to, right? You're supposed to search them out because it is the payback of that is worth the whatever the climb or the multiple jumps required to get there. So yeah, they continue to be very entertaining.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I was not really expecting to be that into it.
I like that they're very musical sometimes. There are. I mentioned earlier that there's a level very early in the game where the piranha plants are serenading you, and but the further you get into it, there's more and more kind of oddball kind of musical cues that come with the Wonder Flower, and those have been very entertaining and very sort of like satisfying.
I think the piranha plant thing was the first sort of sign I encountered where I was just like, where it was clear that there was something more going on than, just, oh, the Wonder Flower just changes the color of everything.
Right.
Where I was like, wait, so they just created this whole piranha plant, like, song and dance number for this one stage? I can't imagine this happens multiple times during the game. But no, that's just been sort of the experience. Like, I just got to the one, and I hope this is not a spoiler because they showed this in the previews, but the stage sort of goes, like, not black and white, but everything becomes like a silhouette. And then Mario just turns into a really tall pipe or something. And I was just like, he like controls super weird, but you can still like crouch down and the pipe shrinks. And I'm just like, I don't fully understand what's going on, but this is just like such a weird twist on like how you would normally play a Mario game. I'm like, I'm here for it. And I think I've only made it through one or two worlds, so there's probably quite a lot more in store later in the game.
Yeah. I think I'm in the third world now, so I think we're probably in a similar place.
So it's been very surprising.
Yeah.
And I think like even before the Wonder Flower, there have been a lot of very memorable stages just because of sort of the weird new obstacles in this. And it feels much less sort of like uniform than the new Super Mario Brothers games.
Explain that. Uniform in what way? What do you mean?
Well, at least in the most recent one, I think I was having an experience similar to how you were describing it, where I'm just like, well, how many times can you jump on a pipe or like hit a box with your head and have it be novel? Like, I didn't feel like they were doing enough to sort of like mix it up between stages.
Sure. What's new about this, right?
Yeah, which is not to say that, it's not exciting to have a whole pack of new Mario levels to play through. But I think there's just so much more variety and creativity happening in Wonder than there was in New Super Mario Brothers.
Yes. Yeah. I would agree with that. Absolutely. I think the thing that I think that I like the most about what's sort of happening in this game is that it's also getting Mario out of the Mushroom Kingdom. So it to the point of the singing and dancing piranha plants, you also are getting lots of other like critters and enemies and platforms and things you can interact with that are new or different or unusual, that are not things that have popped up in previous Mario games. The elephant apple that turns you into an elephant, and you can carry water around in your trunk and water seeds and grow plants. And sometimes those plants take you to different places. And so that, and there's a bunch of different enemies that are sort of variations on Mushroom Kingdom enemies. But sort of you're in the Flower Kingdom now, so they're slightly different in some way and respond in different ways and can be used in different ways to sort of proceed through the game. That's kind of like creative and satisfying too. It's funny that there's the toads that are the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom, and there's the little what are they called? Buds, right? The little flower guys that are basically a toad with a flower growing out of their head instead of a mushroom.
Right. They get the little
and they live in little flower
houses
instead of mushroom houses. Exactly. So it's fun. It's, again, the parts of Odyssey that I like the most are getting Mario on the ship and going to different kingdoms and seeing kind of the different theme and the different interpretation and all the puzzles and stuff that they build around that. And that continues to be gratifying in Wonder as you continue to move through the levels in the Flower Kingdom and sort of see the different, flora and fauna, essentially, of life in that part of the world.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they do a pretty good job about, like, introducing new enemies and obstacles, whether they're in the Mushroom Kingdom or not, but it does kind of give them a completely, or more or less a blank slate to work with.
Right.
Than you would get compared to something like New Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I like it. I'm having fun with it. I continue to go back to it and play it. I don't think I'm having kind of the religious experience that some of the the critics seem to be having with Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
I wonder if that just comes later, or if it's been a while since people played a 2D Mario game, or if, I don't know, people maybe just like them more than I do at this point. People were really into the New Super Mario Brothers U, and I didn't quite see what all the fuss was about.
Same, yeah. I mean, I really loved, I've said it before, I loved Odyssey. I've played Odyssey twice now. I went back to it earlier this year and put dozens of hours into it and nearly got 100% of that game, which there's a lot to do in the game.
Yes.
I think it is kind of my perfect Mario experience. I really love the Paper Mario games, for ill or for will. I think they've done some really unique stuff with that series over the years. That remains kind of one of my favorite kind of gold standards, must play kind of experiences when they announce a new one. The 2D platformers, I certainly, I didn't love you. I didn't love the new Super Mario, what was it, DS games that came out. And I think at some point I just sort of stopped buying that generation of Mario games. And this is probably the first 2D platformer that I've bought since then. And that was quite a while ago.
Yeah. No, the new Super Mario Brothers series always felt like it fell a little short for me. Like, never quite reached the peaks of like Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World. And like, they were fine, but they just didn't quite they didn't feel quite as inspired. And I'm not sure if Wonder reaches those same heights, but it feels like there's a little bit more going on there, or in this, than there was in the new series. So, like I said, I'm only a few worlds into it, so I'm just imagining how it could potentially ramp up later on, because I feel like in the more recent Mario games, they've all been pretty fun, but it's only in the last couple of worlds where it like really ramps up.
Oh yeah.
Like, I felt that way about Odyssey, and was it one of the Wii U was like 3D World?
Oh yeah.
I was just like, oh man, if only the entire rest of the game was as good as this last world, it would have been like top 3 Mario game. But for some reason, they just like really spent their time easing you into it until like Bowser's stage or whatever just went crazy.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think Odyssey is very sort of backloaded. And in fact, Odyssey and World, 3D World and 3D Land all have kind of like an inverse. So you finish the kind of the main crux of the game, and then there's like there's more game. There's all these other things you can do. And that, I think, is where those games collectively shine. I think undoubtedly there is a lot more to unpack and wonder, and I certainly have not, written it off based on my initial experience. It's very charming. I hope it really just sort of nails the landing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to see how it ends up playing out. But so far I'm having a good time coming back to it. Like, I'm not trying to like marathon through it, because I want to pace myself a little bit. It's not every year we get a new 2D Mario game. But what I have played of it so far has been very surprising, which is cool. It's more than I can say about New Super Mario U.
Do you find it easy? I find it surprisingly easy.
Some of the stages have been fairly easy. Like, I'm not trying to 100% everything. Like, I know they have the 3 coins in every level, which has just become a Mario thing to collect.
Yeah. I am accidentally 100%ing of everything.
Accidentally.
No. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I'll just miss a coin and be like, well, I'll come back for it. But I'm not dying left and right. In fact, I probably made it through the first couple levels without dying at all. Or the first couple worlds anyway, because what's the one I just completed? I did one of the like Bowser Jr. castles, and I died on it, and I was like shocked to see what the game over screen looked like, or not game over, but like when you lose a life, it was just very unfamiliar to me. I was just like, oh, well, have I really not died up to this point? That's kind of weird.
We should talk briefly about the kind of the online functionality. There's a version of this that allows you to turn your device, your Switch, online, and it will bring in kind of the faint ghosts of other people playing that exact level at the same time as you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's meant to sort of like show you different techniques for getting through the level and stuff like that. There's also sort of a subtle kind of race challenge to it, where the first person in that level who crosses the finish line, you get a little marker that says Randy has crossed the finish line first. So there's a little like kind of sly speed running thing to it. But what else? You can also do other stuff. You can give other people power ups. So if you have an extra power up in your pocket, you can kind of like release it in a balloon, and other ghost players can collect it. You can put little markers in different, like the little standees. It's a little cardboard stand up of your character, right before a very difficult interaction. And other players can use that as a checkpoint, which is kind of fun.
And it's then the Death Stranding mode. You just drop them a ladder or whatever. Right. Like they can give you a life.
But if you die, if you run out of what do they call it? KO. You get KO'd. You can't say die in a Mario game. You turn into a little spooky ghost. You turn into Mario's head with a ghost body. And he kind of like shimmers through the level, and you can pass through walls and stuff like that. And if you can get to one of those cardboard standee markers or another ghost of a player on the screen, it'll bring you immediately back into the level with full life. So there's some kind of fun like accessibility options there. If you're cool with being online and having the image of other people running around the level around you, I find it a little distracting, but the quality of life stuff with being able to like have the fun checkpoints and share power-ups and things like that have been a little fun to kind of play around with, I think, in some of the levels I've done lately.
Is that ghost thing just always on if you have the online thing enabled?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, okay. Because I had it on for a little bit. And then as soon as I realized, it's like, oh, it's not people from my friends list. It's just random other people playing this game. I just immediately turn it off because I'm like, I don't care at all. I'm curious about how all the little additional stuff works. Like you can drop the markers and everything, but I don't need... Jason 24 running through my Mario course while I'm just like trying to get through it. Like I'm sure there are a lot of other people playing this game. It's fine.
Yeah, but what if Reefer Sutherland 666 knows where?
Reefer Sutherland, I don't know. It's been a long time. I'd love to catch up and see how he's been doing since Modern Warfare 2. But
if he knows where the secret exit to the level is, yeah.
I heard there are some cool secrets in this, which I don't think I have really discovered a lot of, but I anticipate going through the entire thing and then kind of coming back and picking up the rest of those coins, maybe trying to find the secret exits, that sort of stuff.
I'll stick with it as well. We have another Mario game coming out this year too. There's the Super Mario RPG remake, which
I already played that one though, so that
comes out in November. You recently played that one, right?
It was just a couple years ago. Well, I played the original one.
Right.
But because of that, I don't feel a pressing need to play the remake. I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting a very long time to have the excuse to replay it. But just the timing worked out very weird in my case.
We're by no means done with Mario for this year.
Can we talk about the talking flowers?
Sure.
I don't know how I feel about these things.
I wish they weren't so repetitive. I think I guess for context, DJ, what are the talking flowers?
There are just flowers that talk to you in a human voice as you're playing this game. Like they'll just be in the environment, and it's not like an enemy or anything that you interact with. You're just running through the screen, and there'll be a flower with a big like Mario face on it. Not Mario's face, but like a character or a face that a character in a Mario game would have. And it just like says like some totally inconsequential thing as you're going about your business.
Yeah.
And that is basically the extent of it. And
not advice,
like,
not tutorials.
Not really giving you tips, although sometimes they kind of hint at stuff, but it's not stuff like, I don't know, I feel like you would have otherwise never figured out if the flower hadn't pointed you in the right direction, but it's stuff like, like, oh, look at that Goomba. It's like, okay, what about it? But that's it.
There is, yes, one of the early levels, there's a Goomba like asleep, like curled up next to a rock with his eyes closed and little Z's coming out of his head. And the flower guy goes, oh, they're so cute when they're asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then if you sort of walk back in his direction again, he says, oh, they're so cute when they're asleep. And if there's a flower nearby that you're trying to collect or a mushroom and you punch it and you could like eventually come back into his orbit just slightly, he goes, oh, they're so cute when they're asleep. I'm like, I get it, dude. For one time is enough. Thank you.
Yeah. So nobody else in this game speaks. I mean, Mario does his little like Yahoo and everything.
Woo!
But the flowers speak in like full English sentences. And it's just some guy's voice. It's actually the Mario voice actor voice, I believe, doing the flower voices.
The new voice actor, right? Yes.
Yeah, the new one.
Yep.
So, he's already double booked. But it's so, like, thematically is so weird. And someone pointed out that they're just a few degrees away from being MCU sort of like, well, I guess that just happened sort of quips whenever Mario does something. And I'm just like, oh my God, at least it's not that happening. Did you just turn into a freaking elephant? Like, I fail to understand like what the thinking was behind them. Although I read somewhere that originally it was meant to be more of like a live play-by-play system. So they would actually comment on, I guess, like whatever you were doing as Mario, but they axed it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the thinking behind that was either, because it's not like, I feel like most of the time a Mario game is not quite as dynamic as a game you would actually want live commentary on, like Street Fighter or something.
Right. So
it just is like this weird artifact of maybe a system that they had second thoughts about. And it's just some random man commenting on things that are plainly kind of like obvious in the game world. So I'm really kind of confused about what's going on.
And not really even doing like an exaggerated or an elevated like cartoony voice, but like
no, it's just like a man,
just like a guy,
weird flower man. Very confusing.
It's fine. It's relatively infrequent. It's like I said, it's a little repetitive. It's odd that this is happening in a Mario game where there generally is not a lot of conversation. I just wish it like meant something or like gave you like actionable advice or tips or stuff. It's just it's odd, and it's interesting that you say that it's kind of this artifact of this thing that's no longer in the game that makes sense in the way that it's sort of like pointless.
Maybe there will be a big payoff later. Maybe I am going to sound completely ridiculous. We'll come back next week having finished this game. I'm just like, that's why there were flowers talking the whole time.
I was so wrong about the flower guy.
Oh, it's just so weird.
I must lay down now and speak with the flowers.
At least it's not like, it doesn't feel superimposing or anything, but and you can also just turn them off completely. I think you can, both the sound and, like, there's a little speech bubble, like a visible speech bubble of everything they say, and you can turn both of those components off. So it's just totally weird, completely optional system somebody felt very strongly about keeping in the game. It's probably like voice. Shigeru Miyamoto was like, oh yes, when I was a small child in the Japanese countryside, the flowers would speak to me. And that's what this game is about.
in a strange white guy's voice.
Yes. In yeah.
In perfect unaccented English.
Exactly. Yes. I tried changing. You can change the voice language on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I changed it to Japanese. I'm like, maybe this won't feel quite as intrusive. But then it's just like weird flowers speaking in a language I can't understand, and so I'd find myself having to stop and actually read the speech bubbles, and that was like even more disruptive to the experience. So I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be taking from these flowers. I'm not sure what's going on. The rest of the game is very good though. It's just a puzzling flower element aside. It's very good Mario game so far.
Cool. Well, we should wrap this thing up.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Go do some Extra Life.
Yeah. Coming up soon. I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/VGHangover. And you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. You can join us on Discord, chat about video games and other fun pop culture stuff. You can get a link to that at VGHangover.com as well. We will be peppering all of our social media stuff with Extra Life updates throughout the week and weekend. If you want to donate, if you want to watch a stream, if you want to just cheer us on while we're playing games, there's a full schedule and links at VGHangover.com as well.
Yeah.
Or Discord or Twitter. You can
It's
do all
over
those
the place.
things.
Yeah.
Yep. We should share our Twitch. We are twitch.tv/VGHangover. We'll be streaming there all day Saturday.
Because Twitch, they removed this that cool hosting feature that was indispensable in past years of Extra Life. So you'll have to go to our own personal Twitch channels, which in my case is twitch.tv/MetallyFled, and then I believe yours /Randy_Rect.
Correct.
Okay. And in case you can't remember all of that is on the website at VGHangover.com/extralife.
Yeah. Well, that's useful information. I gave somebody a bad link today. I'll have to clarify that.
No, I think you can eventually get to those channels if you go to the main Twitch page, but
okay.
They just made it difficult for whatever reason. Didn't make them enough money, I guess.
Please subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice, and maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show.
Yeah, helps us spread the word about the show, pick up new listeners, get some new viewers for Extra Life Weekend. That'll be super exciting. We want to give a special thanks again to Fear of Dark this week for our intro and outro music. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to fearofdark.bandcamp.com and pick up a couple albums while you're there. That would be great.
Yeah. We'll be back next week. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Go follow Extra Life and watch us do games and donate money and stuff.
Yeah, I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah. Bye.
Good night.